a Palestinian state, UK Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy has issued a statement. Deputy Prime Minister Lammy has said that the UK's recognition of Palestine is intended to keep the two-state solution alive and has noted that Prime Minister Keir Starmer would be soon announcing a decision regarding Palestine. He highlighted that recognition does not establish a Palestinian state overnight, stressing that it can only be achieved through a durable peace process. The statement comes as Britain and Portugal are expected to announce a recognition of a Palestinian state, while other Western powers like France, Canada, Belgium, and Australia also move ahead with similar plans. Now, for this discussion, we are joined by Mark Sutherland. He's a geopolitical commentator, joins us live from London, and Gedalia Bloom. He's a Middle East affairs expert, joins us live from Israel. First, I would like to go to Gedalia. Thank you very much for joining us today. And looking at this UK maybe or might soon recognize Palestinian state, do you think is it too late to move ahead with a two-state solution? What is your say?
I mean, just from the facts on the ground, the Jewish population within Judea and Samaria has grown so much that any future Palestinian state, as Mahmoud Abbas had said within his first 20 years of his four-year term, had said, when a Palestinian state is created, and I quote, "Not one filthy Jewish foot will be left in the land." We have over 600,000 Jews. If anybody remembers what happened with the expulsion of Jews out of Gaza, there was only 9,000 and the whole country shut down. It's a logistical impossibility to remove every single quote unquote filthy Jew from Judea and Samaria. So yes, I think it's a complete impossibility. And I'm not sure exactly why England believes that the British Empire still exists today, where they could dictate policy from thousands of miles away.
And Mark, I would like to come to you now. Mark, what is your take? Would you like to add something on our other guests' comments as well?
Azima, good to be with you and to meet your wonderful guest there. It's much appreciated. Frankly, asking my personal opinion, which you are, I am appalled. There are many, many people in the UK, believe it or not, that are profoundly disagreeing with their government. And I would say to the now Deputy Prime Minister Lammy, he needs to look at his history. He needs to then go back to November 29, 1947, and look at then the plan to try and to then have a two-state solution, which, if I understand history, has been turned down at least 4 times. On the 14th of May, 1948, Israel came together as a nation. It was then declared that by Ben Gurion as its independence as a sovereign state. It then was attacked by the Arab countries around. People need to remember this. We then look at the debacle of the UK in regard to the Suez Canal in 1956, which is another discussion. We then have to look at the attack that Israel then had in 1967, 1973, go into the Lebanon War in 1982, etc. I'm not here for a history lesson. What I'm trying to actually say is that the so-called UK government is needing to then look at its history lesson and go back. But it doesn't seem to do that. And the other thing is they need to then read the Montevideo remit and that and go back to that conference in 1933 in Uruguay. If the government in this country decides to actually listen to sense, it would not be going down this road. But unfortunately, it's due to political expedience and what is going on domestically. And you would then say that is what is happening at France. And we can then see the outgoing of that in the protest at this present time. Asuma. And
Mark, building on that answer, do you think that this solution, if UK does recognize as Palestine, would it change anything? As also David Lammy has said that it won't change things overnight, but what do you think would be the effect?
I don't think it would change anything on the ground. We have to remember the 7th of October 2023 with what happened in regard to the Hamas attack and etc. and other people within Gaza that then would deny the fact that they are members of Hamas. And look at what happened with 1,200 plus people being killed and 250 hostages taken. And as we say, this war, it would have ended the day after if all those hostages had been released. A lot of this is just, to me, it's like political theatre. The other thing we have to say is that various comments can be made within the UN, but it does not make it legal. And when you are then putting within the UN a particular mindset of belief, and if you actually go back to how many times they have put a measure or censored Israel, it's more than any other country in the world by the multiples, I would say, of hundreds. It has to be looked wider in regard to what people are trying to do. And I have to say this to you, as much as this may seem uncomfortable, the idea is to then, according to countries around, because of their previous actions, they then wish to get rid of Israel as a nation state. There is an obsession in regard to that. If you then look back at history, and before anyone says, well, you're being biased, Mark, I would actually say to them, go through the history. No other nation actually has to suffer this. No other nation would then put up with this. And why then should Israel, who has worked very hard to live at peace with its neighbors, other people, of course, on another side of the directory of disagreement, would then disagree with me on that. But this is the situation that we have. Political theatre, we've got no time for it. People would like to negotiate. And as I say, as been pointed out by your great guest there, you look at the Israeli withdrawal out of Gaza to turn around and say, we've had to go at a two-state solution. That was Gaza. You could even argue, definitely, within various mandates, that the creation of Transjordan, that actually Jordan is a Palestinian state. And that is where people then need to go. There's a lot of history to unfold there that we don't have time in this discussion. Asuma.
Right. And Gedalia, what is your take on this? What can happen if Palestinian state recognition? How will it impact on this? How will it impact? Yes.
Well, as much as I would like to agree with everything your esteemed guest has said already, and I think I was a bit of a crapshoot hearing that I was going to be speaking with somebody from Britain, but then I saw a British flag and I thought, okay, we're okay. We're dealing with the Patriot. Most people in Britain, 9 out of 10 people, do not support a Palestinian state. I think people are starting to realize that calling for a Palestinian state has nothing to do with securing and strengthening the Arab population. Instead, the flag has become a Trojan horse and a symbol to upend Western civilization, which is why on the streets of London, you'll see the Palestinian flag being flown, and what you won't see is the British flag. And this is why I am very happy to see actually on the ground that the majority of the people, I believe, the silent majority, are starting to get their voice back in flying the British flag again with pride and rejecting this Trojan horse that is seeking to upend their own civilization, which they see is happening right now in London. Well, the thing I will disagree with my esteemed colleague here is that I do believe that there will be a significant change after this declaration, and the French declaration, Canadian, Australian, Spain, and a number of others. And I think that it's going to strengthen the resolve of the jihadi, who believes that killing Jews, it comes with a reward. On the other side, from the Israeli perspective, it will push us further away from any two-state solution. It will push us to annex and create sovereignty over all of Judea and Samaria. So, in fact, I believe that this push is going to actually be much better in the end of the day, not only for Israel, but for the Arabs. And we see that 20% of Israeli citizens are Arab, and who will not choose and will fight tooth and nail to remain Israelis if they were ever forced to choose between living in an Arab country or a Jewish state. And so I do believe that we already have the opportunity for peace between Jews and Arabs. We see it. We have a test case. We have a pilot. And now if we do annex Judea and Samaria, I think that there's a lot of work and a lot of generational work that needs to be done to deprogram the extremists and even exile many of them. But I do see that a one-state solution under Israeli law will be the greatest way towards peace. And I hope the British people understand this and they support this pathway.
Thank you, Gedalia and Mark Sutherland.